Welcome to this week's business updates. My name's Andy, and I'm a 27-year-old business owner living in Louisville, Kentucky. I manage multiple businesses with my partner Taya, and the purpose of this video is to provide updates on progress and growth within those businesses. So I'm going to keep it pretty quick, hopefully, and just kind of run through all of the things that we're working on, what's been going on this week, and what's next. So first up is Ace Media, which we are currently in the process of rebranding. It is a business that I offer digital services through, so I work a lot with paid social reporting like Google Analytics, Looker Studio, Tag Manager, everything like that. I do a lot of like fractional work, so I'll provide a certain amount of hours a week for different businesses, but I also do some project work as well. It's a pretty flexible business, but everything from ads and reporting to some like branding, logo design, and things like that. My career has really been in that area, so I've had this business for about 4 years, and I really started doing it more in a full-time capacity this past summer. So right now, like I said, we are rebranding, really just renaming. The branding, like the colors and those elements, will stay pretty well the same, but we have been thinking of what we want the name to be going forward. We're doing a lot of that across the board with our businesses and projects because we are working on redoing the structure of our businesses. We have a ventures business that will house others until they're proven to be like a viable project, and then they'll shift out of that. But this business in particular will always stay within that. We wanted to take that as an opportunity to revisit any names and branding for the different businesses. With Ace Media in particular, we are going to start offering some app reporting services in the new year. That is what my partner Taya does on a daily basis, is work in apps, and specifically App Store optimization. She identified an opportunity within that industry in reporting, so we're going to spend Q4 building out those services and determining what those look like. With that, we feel that the name really needs to represent the business as a whole, and honestly, I feel like the current one is pretty elementary, and I'm just tired of it. I don't like it at all. So we did some brainstorming, and we determined the new name. We haven't launched it online yet, or on LinkedIn or our website or anything, but I'll go ahead and share it with you all. So the new name is going to be Low Tide. This is meant to represent what we do with reporting, which is kind of pull back all the layers of data to find the insights that have been kind of hiding underneath. When the tide is low, you can see everything that's been underneath the water. So I really like it. I'll share the logo here. It's still in kind of a consideration phase, but I'm pretty sure we're going to go with that. So that's where we're at. I'm also fulfilling a contract right now that goes to the election, working on voter registration ads and things like that. So that is a lot of my day-to-day work with Low Tide. And then I'm also doing some volunteer work through it. So I just did a rebrand for a nonprofit in Louisville, and I'm not going to share that logo yet because we're still kind of making some decisions around it, but I did that today and I'm really excited about that. So next up for that is just going to be planning the services like I mentioned, but also figuring out how and when we're going to launch the new name. Next up is Nashville Rising. Nashville Rising is a platform primarily on Instagram that is meant to elevate up and coming artists in Nashville, and it is housed under Low Tide, so it is essentially owned by that. That is because we offer services through Nashville Rising to those artists that are specific to that industry and their needs. I just relaunched this project I think last month. I had started it in 2020 and I stopped doing it after a little bit, but it grew organically over those years, so I felt like there's a lot of opportunity there, and that's what my education is in, is music business, so I really wanted to get back into that. And so I've been focused on re-engaging that audience and seeing what opportunity is there. That's what I've been doing the past few weeks. After we get back from our trip, which we leave for on Friday, I'm really going to dig into this. I have a friend who is an artist and is in Nashville, and she's hopefully going to partner with me on it. We've worked on it together in the past, so I think we're going to try to dig in and see what we can build out of it. The goal is to launch a newsletter in the near future, kind of just offering different resources for artists in the industry, primarily independent or new artists, and then thinking farther out, hopefully early into next year, I'd like to launch a course and community, probably on School. And that would primarily be to really build a community with those artists and provide resources to help them manage their careers more effectively. I've already started to see a demand because we get messages and emails of people like asking how to grow their pages and just support with different things like that. So I really, really think that there's a lot of opportunity to provide that knowledge to them and build a business around it. Next is our clothing brand. So you might know this as La Palme, but as I've mentioned in previous videos, we're in the process of really rebranding it. And honestly, at this point, I can't really call it a rebrand. We're essentially killing La Palme and creating a new brand from those ashes. So we have decided on a name at this point. We've kind of been sitting on it for a bit, but I think it's going to be Warren & Co. And this is a logo that we've been kind of messing around with, but we really want it to be something that is authentic to us. It's really rooted in our heritage. That's like one of the taglines that we've been using with imagery, which I can put here too, is this brand is our heritage. So it's really based around what we grew up in, being in rural Indiana, and bringing that into our lives now. So something I put on one of the messaging docs is this can be worn by people in Brooklyn and people in Boise and everywhere in between. I also said raised in the Midwest but born in cities around the world, and that really represents us as people. We grew up in the Midwest, we're still living in the Midwest. I think that some people would argue that Louisville is more south, but this is where we're from. But we really found ourselves and felt like we were born again whenever we started traveling and experiencing the world. So this brand is really going to be kind of like our own version of a heritage brand. It's going to have some Western influences, but not be a Western brand, not be like a country brand, but just really making good quality stuff. I really want people to be able to connect with it. Hopefully it'll be worn by, people's grandpas, but also fashion influencers in New York. I don't know. But we're still in the process of establishing a lot of that messaging and the branding and figuring out, what the first product is going to be for that new brand. So I'll probably include a lot of behind the scenes of that process soon, but that is where we're at right now. And last up is the SaaS project that we're working on. So for quick context, it is a software as a service focused in the service industry, particularly bakeries and cafes. So any baked good production that is going on, it is going to help drive efficiency in those businesses. I'm using my sister's bakery as kind of the primary customer and the case study for it. So she's going to be kind of our test throughout the process, but we are currently wireframing, but Taya just started working in our no-code platform to start building the MVP. And again, this is a project where I'll probably provide a lot of behind the scenes moving forward since we're starting to dig into it, but that's kind of where we're at right now. So to wrap up, there's a lot going on, a lot of movement every day, and that's really, really exciting. We've had a lot of huge insights happen lately and a lot of learning and growth. I'm really, really excited for what Q4 looks like for us and going into 2025. I think next year is going to be really, really huge for really all of our endeavors, everything that we're taking on right now. This week is busy. Right now it is Monday afternoon. I have so much on my plate because we leave for Paris on Friday. We're taking Taya's little sister on a trip to Paris, but there's a lot to do before we get to that. So that is all for the updates this week, and I will probably post another video showing some scenes from the week, kind of more lifestyle content, but I'll see you again soon.